And I remember getting that picture up on my phone and just showing it. And I was like, Salah! And I see him kind of glance through the window like that, and he's gone,
it's the time for the club, it's the time for him. We're going to get his wages back for the Liverpool as well.
We will be there. We will be there. Budapest, we will be there.
Salah's leaving, he's on $460 a week. Lads, give him half of that.
Yeah. You've had a year chatting about PSG to the press, to the media, to us. You've had 12 months.
It's like when you pay £1.25 for those big bag of Walker's crisps, and they're only like one-third full.
At this current moment of time,
he's not going to be a Liverpool player.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yes, people, welcome back to another episode of the Reds Roundtable here on DR Sports. Today, I am fortunately enough to be joined with man like Doyle in the building again. How you doing, brother? You good?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get into it. It probably won't be good after this. Maybe it will. It might be a little bit of therapy. It might be. I'm not feeling very good about my football team. I'm all right, lad.
And we've got, on the Reds Roundtable, this is Greg's debut. Big up man like Greg in the cut as well.
Well done,
How you doing, brother? You good?
I am all right, apart from the fact I've had to leg it from the tube station to here. Because, me train, big up.
You can never rely on the
Big up Avanti West Coast.
Yeah, you can never quite fully rely on the train services here in the UK. But we've made it. 3 Scousers down in the big smoke, all here to discuss the best team.
Do you know what? This might be the most Scousers in the studio that's ever been,
Yeah,
I think it might be.
I reckon number 3,
Yeah, genuinely, lads, Honestly, I'm not messing. Sorry, Gilly, lads.
Obviously, usually we do have Gilly in the building with us as well, so big up man like AGT, obviously, but we will fill in his absence.
Yeah, man.
Right, let's kick things off, guys. Let's get into it, because yesterday, as so often is the case nowadays, breaking news on social media, Mohamed Salah is set to leave Liverpool Football Club at the end of this season. Now, I just want to kind of kick things off with, I was doing some thinking on the train on the way down, and I just thought, right, how do we approach this? How do I kind of break down what it means as a fan, that kind of those pivotal years of me really engaging with the club as into my early 20s and everything else? What did it mean? And I look back, and I think Liverpool have always had, especially in my lifetime, we've been spoilt with a load of great players. Not necessarily great teams, but I'd say that we've had great players, which I think has been, fair to say. And it got to the point where towards the back end 2000s, you had the likes of Torres. Obviously, he moved because Liverpool turned into a bit of a feeder club. He moves off to Chelsea. Then we get Suarez, and we think, wow, how do you get a player that can give you the output, the tenacity, the desire, leave everything on the pitch in the way that Suarez did? And what Liverpool's FSG strategy seemed to be at that point in time was essentially fire sale. Let's go and buy a load of players with the Suarez money and try and get some numbers in to try and make up for the fact that we just lost an incredible talent. So some of the names, and you might laugh at some of these now as we look back, we had the likes of Balotelli signed, Adam Lallana, Divock Origi, Ricky Lambert was signed in that period, Danny Ings, Christian Benteke, and Markovic, just to name a few. And then eventually we get the likes of Bobby Firmino, even though he was misprofiled under Brendan Rodgers at the time. And then Sadio Mane has that breakout season. He goes on that right wing for us and he gets over 18 goals and assists in his first season for us. So we started to make a superstar at that point in my mind. I thought, this is brilliant. And then Salah's arrival. In his first season, he goes and breaks the goal scoring record, 32 goals in a 38-game season. Fantastic. At that point, he's then labelled as dubbed a one-season wonder by rivals and people within the media.
How did that turn out?
I know. I look how that turned out.
How did that turn out?
I look and think, 8 seasons later now, the King has went and dethroned over 25 records in this league. Yeah. Most notably, Shearer's goals in most games against United.
That's the best record.
Rooney's consecutive 10 goals and 10 assists GA season on season. Henry's golden boot tally. Gerrard's Liverpool all-time top Champions League goal scorer. Ryan Giggs is the all-time winger in the Premier League, and he ends up being Liverpool's 3rd highest goal scorer. So when we as Liverpool fans sit here and say that he is deserving to be amongst the conversation as the GOAT, for me, it's because he transcends the beautiful game. He's become a global icon. He's had that longevity, the durability, and he's a genius.
Yep.
And the thing is, with all geniuses, they come with the flaws. But in my humble opinion, and this is just bigger than Liverpool, but I do not think that the Premier League are set to see another winger put up the numbers that Salah has done in the last 8 years for the next 30 odd years.
Impossible.
Yeah, not in the current state of the Premier League. As we were talking about this literally on Monday as well, like how Premier League teams play footy. Like a winger like Salah now,
he's a
never worked.
So I say all that to just say this, that Mohamed Salah has been an influential part of giving me my best ever memories supporting this football club. Many that came before him simply just came to take part. The Egyptian king came to take over. Lads, I want to get your thoughts and feelings on the news that broke yesterday.
What a speech that was, by the way. Well done, Errol. That was really poignant and stoic, lad, and I really did enjoy that. Yeah,
Appreciate
that was
Thank you.
Wonderful words for a wonderful man. I think when I look back at my time, I was a little bit disillusioned with football. I'd had my own personal journey. I didn't make it as a footballer myself. And then I got into freestyle and I started to fall in love with this team with Luis Suarez and Raheem Sterling and Sturridge. And I was thinking about winning the league. Yeah. And I was thinking about, wow, they make me believe that Liverpool can actually do things. And it makes me believe in myself as well in this way. And it didn't quite happen. And I had a big knock on me confidence, like personally, it really did, because that's how much you love your football team. It's almost like part of your soul, mate. And what you're talking about, building this team, when Jurgen Klopp come in, there was this wonderful energy that I'd not experienced before about my football club. And he assembled this team of redemption players that put us back on our perch, lad. And Mo Salah was always the main man of that team, and he's given me the best moments I've ever had, along with the other teammates, the best moments I've ever had in my life to do with football. I will never, ever, ever be in my 20s again and watch a super team like that. And the beautiful, it makes me emotional thinking about it, because the effect that had on my personal life, in my self-confidence, to believe in myself, that Scousers can do things, and we are good at this, and we can fight and we can win, because we're not always going to be second. That was a beautiful, beautiful thing that Mohamed Salah provided to the rest of the team. And I wanted to ask you a question, right? Yeah. About your favourite memory with Mo Salah. And I've got one of them, right? This is my one. And it's totally probably gone under the radar from lots of people, right? It was a game that we played against Southampton. We were drawing 1-1, right? Yeah. In a purple kit. Purple, yeah. Okay. And I remember being in a pub in London, right? And the team was performing unbelievably well, but we were still not quite there for winning leagues. It was the season before we won it. And being surrounded by all these Londoners talking smack about Liverpool, Scousers this, Liverpool that. And I watched them all look at Mohamed Salah pick up the ball from our box, run to their box and slot it like no other player could do in the Premier League, and watched every single one of the faces drop. And he gave me so many of them moments. I live in London and I got to celebrate Liverpool because he gave me the power to do it, lad. Yeah. I don't think there'll ever be anybody like him again for Liverpool, similar to when Gerrard played for us. Well, you get special people. You do. He's one of them. And I think you're completely spot on there when you say you get special people, because I think I said it before, he transcends the beautiful game. And I think the way he does that, because we had players like John Barnes back in the day, and John Barnes used to go around grounds up and down the country and get dogs abuse, races, and he used to get all sorts of stick, but he let his talent and his brilliance speak on the pitch. And in the end, when he walks away from his career, he's commended as an absolutely amazing footballer, and he changes almost the hearts and minds of certain people and certain fan bases, it's a bit of a watershed moment in English football, the story of John Barnes. Yeah. You'd almost get a very similar effect from a Mohamed Salah. I believe anyway. I believe the perception of his faith and his belief in his professionalism to it, and how devoted he is as a human being. Amazing. And the humility that he possesses. I think that side of him is what kind of elevates him above just being a footballer for me. But Greg, let me ask you, what are some standout moments you go home and away? You've seen it there. Some of the biggest let-offs in completely crazy settings and unlikely circumstances. What is it that you take away from this Salah reign, these last 8 seasons? I think it's quite similar to the Klopp factor, as in like, he's just a feel-good footballer. It's like, I was a kid when Salah joined Liverpool. I was about 13 or 14. Around that age. Wow. Going through my teen years, it was basically like, he was eating. He was eating. You know what I mean? Not for us, lad. That was it's like you saw the very beginning and then the Gerrard. Like, I saw the very beginning and then the Mo Salah. Like, that's that's what I'm holding on to going into. Like, that's what I'm going to be telling all the young lads when I'm 30, 40 on the coach. I'm talking about Mo Salah to them. Honestly, like, it's mad how, like, I've grown up, and he's basically reignited that love I had for football when I was a kid. Yeah.
I had trials at Liverpool and I didn't get in, and I continued playing when I was like, 12, 13, and I just packed it in because I just couldn't be arsed with it no more. I hated it. I hated football, and I was like, I'm not giving this any more thought. I don't like it. Still followed Liverpool on the side, but I was a bit like, well, I just hate football now. I'm not doing it.
Once it hurts you push it away.
Exactly.
Of course.
But lad, it drew me back into it to such a level, and it's like him as well as a player. I got a picture with him when I was a kid as well, and like I remember being in Leipzig after we played them, and me and my mate Noah, we were walking around the city, and we found the players' hotel. And I remember getting that picture up on my phone and just showing it. And I was like, Salah! And I see him kind of glance through the window like that, and he's gone. And then just walk back onto the Liverpool coach. And it's just that little moment. And, the little human moments of these footballers, we see them all as idols. We see them all as like, the heroes. They can't be stopped. That's what these footballers are to us. But it's also in them human moments in which they make themselves so amazing to represent our club.
Yeah,
that's 100%. And honestly, I think Mo Salah's been one of the best
servants,
footballers, best humans to represent Liverpool Football Club.
No, I completely agree, and I think he has been a fantastic servant for the club. Next question for you boys, and I don't mind who chooses to answer this first. Why now?
It's the right time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the right time. You can see that he had that outburst early in the season. I don't think he necessarily has a wonderful relationship with this manager. Mm-hmm. He's done everything he can possibly do for Liverpool and won every single trophy.
The guy was a man of his word, by the way.
He delivered exactly what he said, just like Jurgen Klopp did.
Yeah.
I think it's the right time. He deserves to play football and start every game and be celebrated and enjoy his football. I don't think he's quite enjoying it this season. And you've seen it from his performances, unfortunately. Yeah. It's the time for the club. It's the time for him. We're going to get his wages back for the Liverpool as well. It is what it is, bro. It was going to happen at some time. It's going to happen with Virgil. It's going to happen with Ali. That was our redemption squad. They're all eventually... Robbo as well. Joe Gomez. Let's not forget him. All of these players are going to leave. And for me, he's still leaving on a high, even though this season's not being great. What he produced the last season cements his absolute imperious form.
Lad, truth is, Salah could have joined last season, done that, and got off after that season. I'd still consider him one of the best ever. That's the thing. He could have done that season alone and got off, and I would still say
he reinvented what it was to be a winger, lad. Yeah. Wingers did not score goals the way he did, the way he inverted, the way he played with Bobby and Mane together, the way he used the fullbacks to feed them. Genuinely, I don't think we'll ever see that type of exciting football again. Well, that's why it's part of the best front three for Liverpool.
In the Premier League era.
That we may ever see. I always understand the levels that we have seen.
That's what I mean. We've been so spoilt now. We can't take for granted because Liverpool will go out. They will sign more players. They will get more forwards in, and they will excite us and they will get us off our feet. But replacing the individual brilliance of Mohamed Salah and the output that he did.
Some tweets that I've been seeing is that people have been saying you can replace the player, but you can't replace the culture that he brought in.
Yes.
And I think that's the biggest thing with Mo Salah as a figurehead in our squad. It's like, we can replace him. I'm sure we'll get onto that later, who you want to replace him with. Like the actual person in the dressing room, in training, out and about that you meet. Like, just see on the street maybe and get a picture with, like, that person, the kind of unity that they bring to not just the football team, not just the football club, but the city that, the football club is based in.
Yeah.
That is the hardest part to replace in all of it.
And in terms of, from your perspective, is there a standout moment, a standout game, a standout memory that you've got of Salah at the minute?
Honestly, there's just too many.
So many, isn't there? So many goals.
I was thinking,
there's too many to choose from.
I'll throw mine out there early then. Was it the West Ham game where the Shaqiri assist happened? And he goes out to the left wing and then gets beat and he takes like two
lockdown.
Boom, bro. That for me. That was like Suarez against Newcastle. Where it was just a couple of deft touches and he's just gone and he just slots it. Yeah. But the ball was incredible, and I love Shaqiri as a player. And I know it didn't really quite hit the height. He just didn't quite hit the heights at Liverpool, but he still produced moments of quality, and that was for me was probably one of the finest link-ups and quick in terms of that typified how Liverpool dangerous we could be. We was the red arrows for the reason because we could absolutely cut you open. 4 touches, 9 seconds, whatever it was, and it could be a goal and it was done. So that's up there for me. Let us know in the comments what is your favourite Mohamed Salah moment or goal in a Liverpool shirt. Obviously, Doyle, you gave us one before.
I thought that one would go under the radar, but it was just... Again, we're talking about moments that Mo Salah gave to us. That was such a poignant moment for me. He really made me believe in myself because I was surrounded by people that were constantly down.
The ops, he was surrounded by the ops, bro.
And he gave me this like, what? We're gonna win this. We're gonna do this. I can do this as personally myself. He just give you this like fire in your belly, lad.
The beauty is as well, at the time, none of the bigger rivals would have wanted him. By the time he leaves, they were all sick to see the back of him as well.
Especially Man United.
The amount of Duncans he's done. I'll also say the Chelsea goal. Chelsea goal.
Mo Salah, you little dancer.
It is. Oh, wow. The celebrations.
That celebration, lad. Kids in school were doing that for weeks on end, lad. Even the Evertonians were doing that celebration, lad. That's how monumental that fella was.
Yeah, no, 100%. Greg, final thoughts before we move on to obviously the international break. Anything else that you want to say on Salah?
That City away goal in the Champions League. I think that's probably one of my favourite ones.
I watched that live. I was there and it was I was right there and I watched it and it was just a moment of brilliance from him. Again, he said genius. Don't look at his array of finishes. He's truly a master of the game.
And, you know, obviously, again, like that season, I was young. I didn't really go much to the games back then because I only went when I was with my dad.
Of course.
My dad was at home, not in work. But I remember watching on the TV with my mate. And oh my, like that was the first real time and with the kind of new generation of Liverpool, you know,
the new assembled team.
I was like, wow, like this is what it's like to be a Liverpool fan. This is like what all the R fellas go on about when they talk about the 80s and the 70s and going into Europe and the Champions League and all this is what it was, and that's what like really I think that goal in itself just really like it made me understand truly what Liverpool Football Club actually is as a footballing identity.
And as you say that, there are players and there are managers that just seem to be a match made in heaven. Jurgen Klopp, for me, felt like a match made in heaven as someone to lead and be the manager of Liverpool Football Club. Mohamed Salah was absolutely born to be our talisman.
He was.
Everything that he encompasses and everything that's in him as a player, I just think he's right up there. And he definitely sits on Liverpool's Mount Rushmore of talent.
Unbelievably so.
He's definitely up there, cemented.
The Premier League.
He does. For me, he does. He sits there. But again, there'll be people in the comments. Let us know your thoughts.
There is no better right winger than Mohamed Salah that's ever played in this Premier League, and that's. You argue with yourself.
Yeah. Honestly, the stats speak for themselves. Over 25
not just
individuals.
And also let me tell you, the 2 Watford goals, go and watch them where he jinked past the bar 7 players. Yeah. Go and watch the Man City goal against some of the highest quality defenders you've ever seen.
The Spurs goal, he did it for Everton.
He done it against Watford. He's done it against Watford countless times, actually. He done it in 2018, he done it in 2021 as well, didn't he?
He's just jinking around the wall going, I know you, lad, remember this?
That like August 2021 to like December 2021 Salah run was insane.
Yeah, the levels. Right, obviously, we all understand that.
Yeah, we love you, Mo, lads.
The Egyptian king will be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. That's our thoughts and feelings on the matter.
My goat.
Our goat, there it is. Right, we have also got other matters at hand. Liverpool, well, the league, everybody's on an international break at this moment in time.
Thank God.
Yeah, again.
My bank account's celebrating more than me when Liverpool score right now.
My celebrating, lads.
Honestly, how many times this season? We've come and done this show a few times this season. And at every point, we've always come in with the optimism of saying, right, we'll pick up after this one or we'll pick up the next one and we'll start to close the gap or we'll go on a little bit of a run. And between me and you, Doyle, let's just be honest, it hasn't happened. Like this season for us, where we're concerned, it hasn't happened. We've put out some bold predictions. I think we've been quite reasonable. I've watched some of these back and forth. You know, we weren't being outlandish and audacious, and do you know what I mean? We weren't overly deluded.
Jeff Keighley saying we were going to win the league in December. Like,
that was
me and Ed were both like, no.
It's gone. It's definitely gone.
Didn't he say that when I came on after Brentford?
It's because the poor lad works down here in London, so he's constantly under fire. So he's the super defensive, and I totally get it, lads. You know what I mean?
100%.
And we need fans like him, lads. When that brings the optimism, lads.
But you know what? To be fair though, like to kind of not counter your point, but you know, kind of try and play devil's advocate a little bit, right? obviously been watching these, and obviously you try and be as reasonable as you can. You don't try and be too optimistic, but you also, because you want to try and be as real as you possibly can at the same time. But you also don't want to be too defeatist, because you know, you still want to win. You still want to win. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's no point in even being a supporter if you just just putting it all in the bin straight away. But we've still got two competitions to go.
Well, this is what I was going to go
into. Like we've got City away in the cup, literally first game back, and then you've got two legs over PSG, and you think, hopefully, lad, all the
something
talk
can happen,
all the talk this slot's been doing about PSG for the past 12 months, lads. He best have a plan now.
He's talking the big game. He's talking big game. But equally saying that he talked a big game about after the Forest, and it's taken us a while to really rectify those deficiencies. Where, again, obviously there's 6 or 7 games left in the Premier League. You've just mentioned 3 big games there, obviously the 2 ties in the Champions League and then the FA Cup. How, if we are to still make some predictions in kind of good faith with the show that we've been doing, how do you see the last stretch of this season kind of playing out, Doyle?
I still think we can get top 5. Right, and the reason for that is I'm looking at the other teams, Chelsea, Villa, United. United are probably the best out of these teams, which is
sad to say. So bad.
But the likes of Chelsea, super inconsistent, brother. You don't know what you're going to get from them week to week. Villa have been dropping points here and there throughout the last 5
If Villa go deep
games.
in Europa League, that will hinder their league performances so much, because they'll be constantly playing Thursday, Sunday.
But they've got that 6-point gap now for me, or that cushion, I should say, and they've just got, I think, McGinn back and Tielemans. So they're getting players back. I think you're right in what you're saying in terms of if they was to go deep, but I think they dropped the bulk of the points up until last week when they finally got a win.
Of course.
And that's where now it might be very fine for us, and they may just have enough.
And we've all still got to play one another. You know, Liverpool still got to play United, Chelsea
and Villa. They're pretty much all the consecutive games after each other.
Win all 3 of them. You're in the top 5.
Yeah.
You're in the top 5
easily.
As you said, you've got to keep the hope that we can do, because what else are we fighting for? In my opinion, going against PSG, I don't think we're going to do much against them. They're one of the best teams that have been in Europe this year. You've seen them against Chelsea. We struggled to beat this season. We haven't beat them at all, and we beat them 8-2. And it's not because I don't want to support my team. Love me team, love these lads, back them. But I understand where we are right now. And we're nowhere near the levels of PSG, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Arsenal.
You don't need to be at them levels to win the Champions League, right?
Okay, I'm 22. This is the energy I need.
Look, you know what, right? I'm going to play devil's advocate the entire time, right? I'm going to try and be the positive hope,
Good
right?
lads, good lads.
I'm just saying, you don't have to be the best team in Europe to win the European Cup. You don't have to be. We've seen many teams in our time, including our own team, not be the best team in Europe and go on to win the European Cup.
Facts.
Chelsea done it in 2021. Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen English teams do it.
He did it in
loads of times.
2012
done it in
as well?
2012 as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the best team in Europe to win the European
Real Madrid
Cup.
have done it time after
they
time
actually have as well. Yeah, they really have.
Their 3-peat, he was probably the best. 2 at a push. 1 year where you thought, they're absolutely brilliant. Was it the one where Ronaldo does the overhead kick?
Yeah.
All right, you can't stop
You've
them.
One of the years they were terrible in the league and just kept coming back and coming back, and even in Champions League.
You thought he was done, and you just couldn't kill them off.
You've just got to have something about you, and I truly believe that this Liverpool team, as crap as we have been, have still got something there to compete. There's something.
Here's the conundrum then, in my mind. Last time we had a huge figure announce that he was going to depart, we got emotional as a fan base, and I think the players got a little bit over emotional at they wanted to try and give the most perfect send off. Jurgen Klopp. And obviously we do go on, we win the Carabao Cup, and it is a great day out in Wembley and all the rest of it.
Speak for yourself.
But
I didn't go.
I had a great day out, to be fair. But what transpires after that is Liverpool struggle. We don't quite get it over the line. It's a little bit of a underwhelming end to the season, despite being in and around the race for.
We were top of the league for most
months,
of
for months, and then we just tailed off. Do we think the same may happen now with the Salah news, or do we think that it's a different set of circumstances, and the fact that this is the last chance Salah's ever going to get a Champions League with Liverpool, that he's going to try and get more out of performances against, obviously we've got to beat PSG first, so don't point thinking about Bayern or Real Madrid, but if we can do that against PSG, is there a belief then that Liverpool could go the distance?
I mean, yeah, of course, if you beat PSG, then things start to change. The mentality of the players change and stuff. I think the second that Mo Salah walks out onto a pitch, he'll be getting his name sung everywhere. Mm-hmm. It definitely will galvanise people. Like for myself, right? We were talking about this with my mates in the group chat. It's been a really sad season. It's been really disappointing, to be quite honest with you. All the things that have happened, tragedies, everything, lad. This has actually given me some like positivity in a way, in a strange way, because it's made me nostalgic and it's made me reminisce about what Liverpool actually are.
Final dance.
And what Mo Salah's done for us. And it's just brought all these wonderful, poignant memories that I feel like we can still tap into. We can still get that energy from the fans and give it to the players so that they can have the last run, the last dance, as we're saying, and give him a good send-off.
And as he said it himself, he wasn't there in that Barcelona second leg at Anfield, but he had it on his shirt. He was repping.
Never give up.
Never give up. Yeah. So it's us sitting here being like and ahhing, but his mindset and what he will be projecting to his teammates will be that of never give up. We're still in the competition.
Yeah, and you know what, right? To go on to the Jurgen farewell season, it's like Jurgen announced that after we played Fulham in the Carabao Cup. I think it was just before.
It's like November or something, innit?
No,
it was in January. Yeah, it was in January.
It was early or mid-January time, and you get the Carabao Cup, and it's just like from then on you are just going on pure emotion. But I think at the end, it's like it was maybe a bit too early.
Yeah. It
was done too early, and we went all passion merchants straight away. And
I agree.
It was just we put everything behind everything too soon. But I think but maybe this is done at such a time. Look, our next game's not till next month. Yeah. We've still got another week and a half of the international break, and it's like we're going to come back, and it's going to be 8,000 odd Scousers in the Etihad. That would be incredible to not just be a part of, but for the players, they're going to, this is the FA Cup. It's the biggest cup competition in the world. This new, breaking news of he's definitely gone now. It's like, this is now or never. Yeah. And so it is, I think it's done I think this has been done at, the right time. It's like,
imagine we ended up winning the Champions League, like that would be mad. I actually think that certain clubs are at the worst when they're emotional and certain clubs are at the best.
Liverpool are definitely at the best.
Liverpool are an emotional club, and when you tap into that, we are ferocious, mate. I think teams like Arsenal struggle when they're emotional. It's been a long time for them. It's not to say that they're a fantastic team, without a shadow of doubt, and they're going to win the league this year.
They just need to be more robotic.
Yeah. And that's what they've actually done into their team now, so they can go and win the league. Liverpool are the best when they're emotional, so I feel like it's going to have a positive effect on the fans and the relationship between the players. We're going to give them a little bit more leeway now, I think, to be like, right, the season's happened. We know what's happened. Let's put it behind us and let's just push for these last 8 games, 10 games, how many we've got, just to give this lad here a send-off. Because imagine he walked away with the Champions League.
Medal around his neck. Oh, it would be absolutely unbelievable, and it would be a story for the ages.
We will be there.
We will be there. Budapest, we will be there.
The flights are getting booked on.
That now, but right. Let's talk about some of the Liverpool players that are amongst our ranks. Because I asked you before we went live.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, aren't we?
We're gonna have to talk about the players of our season so far. We have got to the deep points within the season now. We're in March, as you said. The next time we're going to kick a ball, it's going to be April. Season 85-90% done at that point.
It's fair to analyse these players now, in my opinion.
I think it is. I think there's been enough body of work for us to look at and think, in terms of peaks, if they're going to go on a little purple patch now, that's all it would be. It wouldn't really deceive you to think that's been seasons worthy of form. Right, okay. I asked you to nominate some players of the season. Doyle, we'll start with you. Obviously. Your player of the season for Liverpool this year.
I mean, you're all going to agree with me, obviously. It's this man here, Dominic Szoboszlai.
Okay.
Without a shadow of a doubt, being our best player. He's literally turned into Gerrard, brother. I know it's big boots to fill, right? We never thought we'd replace Gerrard, and he still isn't Gerrard. I'm just being a little bit tongue-in-cheek stuff there, right? But he plays in the number 8. He's playing in a struggling team. He's carrying them. He's scoring goals outside of the box. He's ferocious in these interviews, like... The man has been a wonderful, wonderful player for us, and I just want the rest of the team to be able to follow his lead a little bit. He's elevating the standards, and I don't want them to get left behind. I also don't want the style of football to push him out of this club, because he could go anywhere, in my opinion, in Europe, anywhere in the world, to be honest with you. Yeah, because he's that good. So that, for me, is player of the season. And I think you agree with me. Even if the lads that you pick now, I still think you agree that he's been our best player, right?
Well, I'll go to you, Greg. Yeah. What were your thoughts on Szoboszlai? Would you have had him as your player of the season?
Yeah, easily. Yeah. I just think the kind of impact Szoboszlai's had in our squad this season, I think, realistically, if you take him out of a lot of the setups and games in which we have won or maybe challenged in, we either don't win them games or we get battered even more than what we already did.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I feel like he's been a big stabiliser in our team, which is, I don't think really anyone's actually said that.
Stabilised
He's
us?
not been a he's been a stabiliser kind of, because, you know, let's be honest, like against Tottenham, we scored from his free, our goal comes from his free kick, but ultimately we didn't really do much else that was threatening.
No,
and then obviously they go and equalise the game. And it's
He's
like
our most consistent player. I think that's the word you're looking for.
But I think he's also like really kept us as afloat as we possibly could be.
Heads above water.
Yeah, exactly. And it's maybe
And in
is
this league
because of him,
nowadays, you don't get many individuals that do that. Everything's so system driven and everything. He's got all those traits about him. I think one of the things that I probably flag about Dominic Szoboszlai the most this season is I think he, in a good way for us now, but I think he threw a spanner in the prep work for Slot, in the sense that I thought he was going to have a midfield makeup of McAllister, last season McAllister levels, last season Gravenberch levels, last season Bundesliga Florian Wirtz levels, and Dominic Szoboszlai was going to have to factor and fit in as and where he was going to get the game time.
And
Szoboszlai just said, nah,
I'm better than all of them.
Yeah, did you see like when we announced Wirtz and that, like those, you know, Szoboszlai was just posting pictures of him in the gym every day on his Instagram and Twitter and all that.
Like, personally, like,
yeah, exactly, that meme.
Ratings together,
yeah.
And Dom was like, lad, I'm faster than you. What the hell is going on here? Like,
Is that Michael Jordan meme?
He's forced the issue, lad. He said, I am the best midfielder.
And I'm going to prove it.
Me, lad.
And I'm going to prove it. And I think that he has proved it, absolutely. And it's been a massive benefit to Liverpool this season, because we've needed I think you can have a case to say that McAllister's probably dropped in his levels. Gravenberch has probably dropped in his levels as well. Florian Wirtz is still struggling to find that consistent rhythm. Dominic Szoboszlai has been the consistent for
the leader.
He has got that leader.
In my opinion, this is the future captain of Liverpool if we can keep hold of him, because he leads on and off the pitch. We've seen it with the game that we won against Galatasaray. Straight away, Gerrard even commented on it, saying about the Brighton game, we want to go and do this, we want to perform well, blah blah blah. He's already thinking about the next
and he's
one. He's ready to
honest.
Go. Yeah, he is. Yeah,
he's openly honest.
He said about it, didn't he?
Yeah, he's very openly honest in his interviews and press conferences that he does. Is like, was it Tottenham? He says like, oh, we should be happy to get Conference League. I'm like, you know what? I'm like,
he's stuck on us.
You can't even be angry with that. Like, lad, you're right. Like, we're crap.
He's stuck on us.
We should be happy with Conference League. Like, we are not performing at a Champions League level.
I know.
Like, no, you're right, and we've needed someone, a player or the manager. I'm going to group them all together. We've needed someone to just be honest with us.
Part of the collective.
I don't feel like a lot of the players or even the manager has been truly honest to the fans in what they've said. They've kind of just been going around in circles to defend themselves or to defend everyone else, but no one's actually really been like, you know, hard to swallow pill honest.
This is reality.
And obviously Jones, yeah.
Just on that then, for Szoboszlai, side note, summer, I know we need to sign players, but you put a new contract on the table for us?
Immediately.
Okay. No, I agree.
Mo Salah's leaving. He's on $460 a week. Yeah. Lads, give him half of that. Yeah, he's the future captain of Liverpool. He'll go anywhere in Europe.
Make sure you keep him.
We need to keep hold of this fella. Okay. This is the man.
No, that's fine. I'm absolutely fine with that. Okay, my shout for player of the season, and again, it's not really, because I think unanimously we can all agree that Szoboszlai has been Liverpool's best player this season. But I do think man like Hugo Ekitike deserves a special mention. He deserves a shout out.
He's done as much as he possibly could in the setup in which he's been involved in.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? He's given us incredible individual moments of brilliance.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, he's basically like, he's come into a squad, he's been sold the stream, he had a very good start. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when Liverpool started to drop off, I mean, that was just a team thing. Yeah. Everyone dropped off. But I still think there has been enough times this season in which Hugo has made his opportunities either in front of goal or in the team. He's made them count. Frankfurt away, that one-on-one. Lad, I used to watch Nunes for 3 years, missed them. And that's no disrespect to Nunes. This shows how little trust I've had in my number 9 or, scoring those chances. Slots it away easily. The Newcastle double, the Newcastle brace.
Excellent.
Individual moments of brilliance from Ekitike, and that's what we've needed from an attacker, from our striker.
He's come in and basically become one of the best strikers.
The heir apparent. Yeah. I feel like it's the heir. I feel like he is the heir apparent to. Haaland is Haaland,
Yeah,
and he's just in a league of his own. But there is very much a seat there available for somebody in the next 2 years to go and be the face of the Premier League.
It's not Gyökeres, it's not Sesko, it's not João Pedro. It's my man Hugo, lad. It was supposed to be Isak.
I trust him in front of goal. I feel like if you give him enough chances in a game, give him 3, I reckon at least one of them is going into the back of the net.
He's brilliant. And
just got to give him a solid chance. You've got to play him into the game. And that's obviously been the issue when he hasn't been performing.
What surprised you the most about him then, if I was to ask you a question? Because I'll be honest, I feel like we said before, we're old now. But I used to be the type of person that you'd go and you'd see players on FIFA back in the day and you go, right, I'll get them in now. I'll see what they're about. I'll have a little, you think, they're decent there, do you know what I mean? So you start doing the prop before you've actually really seen them kick ball. You might have seen them in the Champions League a few times. I am so far past that point in my life. When we signed Hugo Ekitike, all I knew was that he came from the Bundesliga. What has surprised you the most about this talent?
Do you know what these two both share? Can you tell me? What these both share? Oh, definitely swag. These can win games on their own.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. This lad facilitates and brings others into the game as well as scoring goals. He's beautiful to watch. He's effective. He's efficient.
He makes everyone around him play better.
He's a wonderful all-round player, definitely. Yeah. He does. He elevates the standards, the same as this fella here. These need to be the spine of the team, in my opinion. I think going forward, again, we need to do our hardest to keep hold of him, make sure that he feels valued, because he's going to be massive when it comes to bringing the likes of Florian Wirtz into the game for us. And just facilitating other players that can't necessarily do it themselves. He's a proper individual, lad. I thought Isak was going to do this, but actually what I'm finding out is Isak's going to benefit the rest of the team.
He's going to benefit.
Isak's going to need
of his service. The running, the link-up play. He's going to do all the dog's work for Isak, and Isak will score a bunch of goals.
He's almost like Bobby in a way. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, no,
I think he's actually a better goal scorer than Bobby in a way. But he is a facilitator. You put 2 wingers next to him, lads. They're going to get
pace that can do it, Peter, man. Right, and finally, again, probably another honourable mention more than anything else. He's had a tough. I think he's had a tough graft this season. He had a brilliant season last season. Was in team of the season. It's probably individuals levels probably haven't been at the same, but I think the job in that midfield has changed so much.
Yeah.
Like, who have you got?
So, because I was late and I couldn't pick.
Love the honesty.
Lad, you've got to be honest, haven't you? Gone for, Mr. Ryan Gravenberch. I actually don't think it's he's definitely in like the top 4 performance of our season, though. Definitely, I'd say.
Top 5.
Because I don't think he's been that bad compared to like the rest of the team's performances. I think he's been one of our not standout players, but I think he's been good enough to kind of sustain warrant his starting in the squad.
But that's because to me, there's nobody else that does his role.
Of course.
So the question for you then, Greg, is: are we playing him in his best position?
No, not currently. I don't think any player necessarily is being played to the best of their ability. And obviously, look, there's deeper reasons for it, all right? And again, I'm sure, we will get onto that in a bit. And I just think the reason for this drop-off is not because he has just declined as a footballer. I think it's a deep-lying, deep-rooted issue in the main setup of the team. And we saw what he did last season. And what he did was revolutionise that kind of midfield spot for Liverpool. I've not seen someone like him. The way he was doing the Fabinho role, that he was doing the Thiago role, that he was doing the Henderson role all in one. He was one of the most phenomenal midfielders.
We need to get him back to that level. We need to get him back to that level.
6. I do. I think his best position is in a double pivot in the 6. That's where we've seen the best of him. And the reason why I think that is because he travels up the pitch so quickly. His half turn is the best in the league. You go and watch some of the compilation that he does, the way he turns people. And what that does is create so many yards on the pitch, and he's already in an attacking position. But that's also why he needs another pivot behind him. Just to cover that space which he's going to leave.
That he vacates.
So I actually think a wonderful setup would be Ryan Gravenberch, Dominic Szoboszlai and Wirtz in front of them. That's what I think. 2 absolute workhorses. Got a progressive midfielder, you've got a box-to-box midfielder, and then you've got a creative number 10 just in front of them.
Because Szoboszlai can cover distance as well. The way that he's, Szoboszlai literally runs around everywhere. The fitness levels of him are incredible. He's rapid. Yeah, that's what I'd like to see next season, personally. I think that'll be very good.
Okay. Well, talking about what we'd like to see next season, we're going to start talking about some players that we feel between now and the end of the season, it might not be enough time, But definitely beyond that, these players need to improve for Liverpool Football Club and what they give us on the pitch. Got 3 names here. We didn't really vote for these. We just kind of collectively put these ones in terms of let's have a conversation about them. 4 even, potentially. Right, shall we start? I think we've got to start with Florian Wirtz. And I'll give my 2 pence on Florian Wirtz first and foremost. For me, for the £150 million, euros, whatever it was that we spent on him, I do expect more in terms of the output. But what I think he is good, I think he is an absolutely brilliant and intelligent footballer in the way that he creates space out of nothing in tight areas. He finds pockets. My only wish once he's found those pockets is he backed himself and he had the self-belief to pull the trigger. And when I say pull the trigger, that's either you put it on a plate and you fizz it into somebody's feet 10, 12 yards away from goal, or just have a go yourself and back yourself. And that is the only drawback in his current game. And I don't know whether that's a confidence thing. I don't know whether it's an instructions thing at this moment in time. But that to me, and again, obviously we've already seen numerous kind of conversations about his pressing and the drop-off from last season to this. But that for me is where I want to see improvements massively from Florian Wirtz.
Totally agree. I'm looking at players like Bruno Fernandes, Iliman Ndiaye, players that are number 10s that absolutely deliver stats. They do. They're great to watch as well. Iliman Ndiaye, for me, is one of the best players in the league, and he gives you goals and he gives you assists.
And Florian Wirtz, good on the eye as well.
He is. And they do it on their own. They do it on their own. I don't see Florian Wirtz doing things on his own. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be his career at Liverpool. But I do agree with what you're saying. Operates in them tight spaces wonderfully. Such a gifted technical footballer. And he is good at knitting things together. He's a pre-assister, in my opinion. Does that make sense? Carries the ball a little bit.
But I think you say this, you're the guy before the guy. I'm like, bro, I ain't paying 115 mil for you to be the guy before the guy. You've got to find your groove. Like, you've got to feel like you can be the emperor in this thing.
Like this man is.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't really want it to take us signing somebody else to feel like his place is under threat. I just want him to have that inner self-belief to be like, I'm going to be the guy. Look, we're paving ways now. Salah's going to be out the door. Do you know what I mean? You've got that link-up play with Hugo Ekitike.
He's the only one, though, my brother.
He's the key.
For me, the problem that he's had this season isn't necessarily just his own fault. He's playing with the wingers like Mohamed Salah and Gakpo, who like space in behind, right? The way the Premier League is set up currently, it's full of low blocks. You're not going to get that space in behind. And that's why them two have struggled a lot this season in Mohamed and Gakpo as well. So he's not getting the players that work in them tight spaces, and the only one he has had that can work in them tight spaces is Hugo. And that's why you've seen some wonderful link-up play from the two of them, because they're both on the same wavelength. When I watch Florian Wirtz play with Gakpo, it's like they have two complete
different
like polar opposites. Remember the magnet thing, like north on north, lad. Just pull away from each other. They don't understand one another. And that's the same reason why Gakpo doesn't necessarily gel well with Kirches. But Florian Wirtz absolutely does, and he brings out the best of Kirches because they have the same sort of football in mind. So I think once we get a team that's sort of built around Florian Wirtz a little bit, we'll see more from him. But I do think he's never going to be, in my opinion, he's not going to be the Dominic Szoboszlai, the person that wins the game for you and does that. I think he's going to be a fabulous footballer that gets assists and stuff. But I can't really see him hitting them heights that he's hitting the Bundesliga in the Premier League over the next 5 years because of the current climate, unless it changes. Or unless we get players that really operate really well in these tight spaces with him. I think he's a wonderful player. I really do. Let me just add that. But yeah, there's a little bit of a doubt in me, man, mate. Okay. I don't know if you feel the same thing.
Well, I'm about to ask Greg, is everything that Doyle's just said there, and I agree for a large part of it, but we've got to then go back, because I always feel like you don't think about the money when it works and the play just hits the ground running. But will that always linger over his head? If he's the guy before the guy, if he's somebody that needs 3 or 4 other players that are all tuned into his game to be able to get the best out of him, are we still going to be talking in a year's time about the price tag of Florian Wirtz?
It depends if you care. Personally, I don't really care about like.
Okay, that's fair. No, I think that's fair as well.
I'm not trying to say that's to defeat the whole point of it, but like, obviously, yeah, we do need to see more from him. We need to see more moments being converted, basically. Yeah. It's a tough one, because I agree with what you're saying, Doyle, but but at the same time, it's like I also believe that he can be that guy as well. Yeah. Like that's the only part where I differ from you. It's like, I know he can be that guy. I just think the way that the whole team has played and the whole team has been set up, and the context of how our season has been from the first kick of a ball to this current moment in time, I just think it was always going to be tough for that to just happen straight away, or not maybe straight away, even as the season developed. Because the thing is, in that time period where you're thinking, right, the new signings should realistically start feeding into the squad, they should start understanding the way the system's played. We ended up going on like a 9 game out of 11 loss, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, how are we meant to see any improvements from individual signings and players and the whole team itself, when we're quite clearly seeing that on a team level, there has been no changes in performances, really. There's been no change in style or that. Again, that is a deeper issue. That is
That sort of emphasises my point though, brother, because that's exactly what I'm talking about. In your dark times and when the season's not going well, you need players to step up. There's only been 2 for us, and it's been Hugo Ekitike and Dominic Szoboszlai.
He hasn't found
without everybody else, and that's why I don't think he's going to be the man to drag us on his own. But I do think he'll be a wonderful cog in the machine
if he has a complement
of players around him. If he gets the right players around him, similar to Isak. I think Isak is going to be the exact same, by the way, lads. He's going to need the right players around him to facilitate.
What I will say is it'll be interesting to see how much he is the main guy for Germany in the World Cup and I think that will give us as Liverpool fans more of an insight into what other players around them, the type of profiles we need in order to get the best out of them.
Actually, now that you bring that up, actually, like with obviously, I always say, it's like, never rate a player based on international.
No, of course.
I don't see that.
Never. I will make sure I take that with a pinch of salt, but I will make sure to also credit where credit is due. Some of the players that we're going to mention now have been absolutely killing it every time they've gone to play for their national teams.
Which is annoying.
Which blows my head so much.
Out of all the players that have underperformed, Florian Wirtz it's not even close to the other lads that have underperformed. We're just saying we would like a little bit more. We don't think he's been terrible at all. I think he's definitely improved throughout the season. But when we get on to these other lads, which I'm going to mention now.
Do you know what it is for me, Florian Wirtz, and this is probably the last, and then we'll move on. It's like when you pay £1.25 for those big bag of Walker's crisps, and they're only like one third full. They're still nice. The crisps still tasty. But I just want more in the bag. Just give me more in the bag.
Wonderful analogy, lads.
It's a bit of a weird analogy.
I haven't said about this next player though. This is like a bag of crisps that you usually enjoy, lad, but for whatever reason, they've just tasted off today, lad. Maybe there's a little hole in the bottom of the bag.
Bossman told you
what's going on here? And his name's Alexis McAllister. This Donny has fell all the way off for me. He looks like he's running in treacle every single game. And you know, that's a big thing for me, right? Because when we bought him, I thought this is the man for us. This is the Gini Wijnaldum replacement, the guy that's going to do all the dog work for us while we operate in the midfield and all this type of stuff. And he's just fell off a cliff, to be quite honest with you. And now, as you said earlier, I'm watching him go to Argentina. It's miles away where he's going. He's going on all these.
Gets into the sun and then just starts.
He gets into it as well. He really he gives us everything for Argentina, and as you should, because they're a very patriotic country and stuff. But I just think the levels that he's hit have gone all the way down. I don't know if he's going to get them back. He's 27 now. By the end of this World Cup, he'll be coming back. 28 next year, 29.
Miles on the clock. That's what it reminds you of. There's a lot of mileage in McAllister.
And our Volvo, lad, you know what I mean? Good Volvos, they're faster than that. But as soon as they've got too many miles, they start to break down a little bit. And I think the poor lad, that's what you're seeing from him, to be quite honest with you.
I think he's struggled this season.
I think he's gone under the radar with a lot of fans as well. Mache and other lads have been getting it. These 2 lads that we're going to point out, but would you agree with me, Mac?
I'd say the reason why Mac has gone under the radar a little bit is because I feel like it's not been as noticeable. There's not as many mistakes. Exactly. That lead to goals. Exactly. It's either not as many mistakes that lead to a missed opportunity in front of goal, or not as many mistakes that lead to a goal conceded. It's just kind of here, there. You know, he's not gone in for a tackle, or he's misplaced a pass, or it's just like he's not ran back quick enough, or
he holds the ball too long for me.
It's stuff like that. It's like the very kind of nitty-gritty areas of football in which he was very good at previously. It's now not really, it's not working. But because of how bad we have been, it's almost as if it's expected. So it's not looked at as like it's crap.
I think we've had games where in the team performances across the board have not been good enough, but then to compile it even more, we've had individual errors that then stand out as that's the problem, that's why we fucked it, you know what I mean? And it's not really fine margins because we've not played great, but then an individual error or a blunder happens and you're just like, well, what did you expect? He was never going to win that. I think that's where
they're always going to happen more when the football is crap anyway.
But they've masked a lot of the deficiencies from Maka this season.
As well as him crashing into the box. He's good at crashing into the box, so give him that. This season he's been good at it. Rather than late into the box, getting headers, getting goals for us in that way. Without a shadow of a doubt, that's still been good. And I think that's why another reason why he's went under the radar. But these two, when we're talking about mistakes,
these two
ones,
this season, right? So we could do them both together. We've got Konate and Cody Gakpo.
Yeah.
Right, lads. In terms of look between now and the end of the season, I don't think, and these lads have been mainstays here now at Liverpool for a number of years. Do you know what I mean? You've been around for a while, so I think we've seen the best of both versions of these in a Liverpool shirt. So I'm of the belief right now we won't get that version of them
ever again.
Not necessarily ever again, but between now and the end of this season, certainly.
Yeah,
but looking beyond that, what does the future look like for Konate and Cody Gakpo in your opinion?
First and foremost, Konate doesn't even have a contract for next season. So, like, at this current moment of time,
he's not going to be a Liverpool player.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of them. Like, at this current moment of time, going, like, looking forwards.
Well, yeah, but looking forward, would you be then considering putting the offer in front of him, giving him another chance?
Well, I mean, I would purely because if he is going to stay at maybe one more season, and then at least we can sell him. At least at that point, we can sell him. Where I stand with Konate, it's a weird one, right? It is a weird one because it's like Konate's mistakes are more noticed, as we've already established, because they lead to goals conceded.
Yeah.
I also, on the other hand, think that he has played decent. I still feel like he's had some good moments this season and he's put in some very solid performances. It's a tough one because it's like...
It's the opposite of Maka, though. You said Maka was like... It wasn't like a 4 or a 7 in terms of the rating of the performance, and it was just kind of a 5 maybe.
Yeah.
Ibu's had those games
where he's been an 8 and then he's had that mistake.
He's been a 3.
Yeah, that's why that's where the lack of trust is kind of coming from the fans. That's probably where why we're having this conversation now. It's because we've seen Konate have these incredible performances in a Liverpool shirt. We've seen him play monumentally, like just have such an impact on our defence and our defensive structure. And then he just has that one moment, like PSV, like a Galatasaray, Leeds, where it just utterly goes tits up and you're just looking at it like, lads, you were doing so well.
Yeah.
And it's just that, and you know, that's the kind of gut and feeling. And at this point, I don't know whether that's just him having that little bozo gene or if that is something that can just get coached out of him.
I thought it had been coached
out of him.
Exactly. I think
it's like it's been coached back into.
I think he's got enough credits in the bank right now to get another contract. He's done really well from us. We've won loads of cups. I think that he's faced an exploitable weakness in the system of the team, which is long balls. We play a high block at the top of the pitch. We don't like to high press. We like to cut off passing lanes. And as a result, you give the defender a whole bunch of time to just lump it over the top of the midfield. And now Konate on all the back line are having to face a million long balls a game, which is leading to us not winning a second ball, and then they've got a chance, and then they're having to dive in, and then making stupid mistakes, and everybody's made stupid mistakes in that, including Virgil van Dijk, by the way.
Of course, yeah.
And I just feel like there's a player there. Let's back him. We are Liverpool. We always support our players. I think he's done enough for Liverpool and he deserves a contract, but I want his head to be in it. I really want him to commit.
That's such a good point for me.
Just to develop on that, as I said before, like mistakes are more prone to happen when the overall football is crap anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
If the players have no idea what they're meant to be doing in a system with each other.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
When the players don't look like they have any trust in each other, let's go back to just Brighton. You know, the players weren't passing it back to Mamardashvili because they didn't trust him. That's not, you know what I mean? They just don't know how to play with each other, you know, at this moment in time. They have no idea what their game plan is. These mistakes that Konate is making, it's not bad playing. They're not errors of a bad footballer. It is simply just moments of sudden confusion, of indecisiveness. Should I knock it out? Should I try and touch it down? Do I play it out of... that's the mistake
when
that
you're second guessing yourself. Yeah, you're not.
Yes, exactly.
He's second guessing himself because he's not in flow state at this moment in time.
Exactly, and that's why again I'm with you, Doyle, on that. I'd give him a contract at Beckham. I still think there's a good footballer. There's a good centre back there to play for Liverpool.
So there's a future for Ibu Konate. I think the last thing that I would say on that is I know that he unfortunately lost his dad earlier in the year or back end of last year. It may have been. And I think the reception and the response from the Liverpool fans and his response to it, especially in that Newcastle game, it was beautiful. And it just went to show that, you could go to any club in the world and have teammates, but at Liverpool Football Club, you're always going to have family.
I still believe. Yeah. I believe he truly loves this club as well.
And that's what I mean. I do. You could see the emotion. The
fact he went through that. And then he
he's a vibe. He's an absolute vibe.
He went through that, right? And then he still came back earlier than people expected. And he said in an interview, I have to be there. My team needs me.
And you what, mate? I will bite your hand off for players like that.
That's a player I want at Liverpool Football Club.
Just a side note. We've got Hugo there, and we've got a young lad called Jeremy Jacquet. French little contingent.
The French
we've got a little Dutch one there as well. Like I want him to stay, me lad.
Right. Well, talking about the Dutch contingency, we will talk about man like Cody Gakpo. Really struggled. I think probably one of Liverpool's biggest failings this season. There's been quite a few, but not replacing the profile of a Luis Diaz to really give him this lad a rocket up his arse to say, I've got to be on job week in, week out. Yeah. He's had a far too easy of a ride. He's had a tough season. He's not had the adequate understudy, and that's no disrespect to Rio, because Rio is a phenomenal talent, but he's a kid, 17, so he's not had the adequate understudy to challenge him for his place, which means he's held on to a place that I don't fully believe he's warranted or deserved, because the performances have just not been there. He looks, to the eye test, very one-dimensional, and I think that's the only thing he's really confident at doing, so he continues to try doing it. Cody Gakpo and his Liverpool future, is it up for debate? Is it up in the air? Is he the long-term left winger for Liverpool Football Club?
I'll let you have the floor here.
He's a squad player, lads. That's what he is. I absolutely think that he should play for Liverpool, but he shouldn't be starting every single game for Liverpool. I think we should buy another winger that's going to basically be the profile of Luis Diaz. And that's when you're going to get the best out of both of them, because I think there's a place for him in the Premier League. He is effective. He's effective in certain games. It's a word I've always used about Cody Gakpo. He can be effective. It's reality, lads. So I think and we've also just given him a contract, a brand new contract. He's got a future. He's young. I just think that's been a really poor season from him. And to be honest with you, the only good season that he's actually had for Liverpool was last season. Yeah. Because before that, there was question marks. But I think the poor lad got put in all these mad positions, centre mid and centre forward and that, which wasn't necessarily his fault.
Last season seemed to work. We've seen to figure it out that, you can do a job.
I think the reason why Gakpo worked so well last season is because he was utilised in such a way in which you'd have Diaz who would maybe start the game, and then Diaz would tire out whatever fullback was there. And by the time Gakpo came on with his little one-tick kind of
step on the inside, cut in and just drop the shoulder.
The fullback was goose, lad. He was already tired. He was like, I don't even care about going in for this, lad. And then it would work. You get Gakpo then cutting in and swinging it in. Either Salah would get on the end of it, or he'd score, or Nunes would get on the end of it, or something. Like, it worked because of how he was played and how he worked with Diaz. It was a case of like, right, Diaz, you go out there, you tie them out with your quick feet, and then Gakpo will come in and basically collect all the, just collect the rush and just clean up group. That's what it was. And it worked. It worked very well. Obviously it won us the Premier League. It got us, it won us, there was, moments in big games like City in which it worked. The little Gakpo and Salah had an incredible connection last season. Literally swinging balls in from opposite end of the pitch
Diaz
on the back post, and it worked.
They played together most of the time, to be honest, lad. Diaz would be down the middle and Gakpo would be on the left. And I also think the current climate of the Premier League has completely changed. We had more space in behind. That's why you've seen he did this constantly, Cody, last season, and it was excellent. Back post crosses to Mo Salah. It worked every single time. And it was just a little tap in for Mo Salah. It was great. And he would do the same thing for Cody Gakpo because there was more space in behind. Teams are not playing that progressive football anymore. That's why you've seen teams like Arsenal being top of the league, because they've got a team full of dogs that just shut up shop and have a really strong shape and structure, and they don't need all these wonderful attacking players because that's enough for them to get through. And I think that's where he's struggling. The current climate of the Premier League, it's different. It's not. We've bought all these players to play expansive football like last season, but it's a different climate now. It's changed overnight, and it's going to be like this for a while unless these teams want to win the Champions League. Because when you want to win the Champions League, you have to play a little bit of a better football.
Yeah, and that kind of rounds us back up towards the end of the show, then, lads.
Oh, are we going to get it?
Well, that's it. If you've kind of got to put your money where your mouth is now, Liverpool FA Cup taking on City, Liverpool Champions League, PSG, then the winners of Bayern or Real Madrid before you even contemplate a final, and then finishing in the top 4. What odds do you give Liverpool, and where do you place them in terms of the importance for us right now?
I'm the pessimist fan, I'm so
Go
sorry.
on.
Guys.
Well, just be honest. Just give us your honest.
I think Liverpool can still get top 5 because
Okay.
of the current state of the teams that are fighting for it. I think we're going to get beat by PSG, unfortunately.
Okay.
And I think we're probably going to get beat by Man City too. I'm so sorry, guys.
Okay, Greg, I'm going to go over to you for some optimism, positivity. Go on.
Doing the double, lads. Nah. Honestly, I don't know. I want to believe it, lad. I've just dropped 500 quid on a trip to Paris, right? I am not going there thinking, we're going to get swatted. Lad, we are going to... We are going...
This is what I needed.
Love it.
I hoping we can do something. I pray.
Well, you said it before, Slots had a year to cook up this recipe for PSG.
You've had a year chatting about PSG to the press, to the media, to us. You've had 12 months of preparation, lads. Yeah? If you don't deliver... lad, just know I'll find out where you live, lad.
Yeah, we want a Michelin star performance here,
Okay, mine. I think City are on a little bit of a high, and I think City are going to try and turn attention to the Premier League. I think they want to give Arsenal a bloody nose and upset them in the competition they want the most.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to go full tilt for the Premier League. That leaves us an opportunity to steal a march on.
And also, if you beat City in the FA Cup, there's a chance you could absolutely, no disrespect to these two teams, by the way, there's a chance that you could fraud a West Ham or Leeds at Wembley. They're playing against each other. Obviously, no disrespect to both teams. Obviously, Leeds have drawn
We should be
twice,
expected to beat them.
but we should be beating both of them
especially
at
at Wembley. Yeah.
So, there's...
So I'm leaning more towards the FA Cup. I do unfortunately feel that I want big ears. I said from the start of the season, big ears, it's going to be big ears. But in the cold light of day now, we have to be serial winners to get there. And that seems an absolutely insurmountable task for this current Liverpool team. And all I want out of that PSG is, bro, if you ask me to go out to PSG now on pens,
don't get smoked.
Don't do it, Chelsea. Don't
get
hold
smoked.
5s and 6s and have us out here looking stupid. That's all I'm asking
that's
for
long,
from
that.
PSG. And if we can behold some level of respectable performance over 2 legs, I'll take it. And Prem, we cannot afford to miss out of Champions League to a Chelsea side who has got one of the worst ever Premier League managers known to man. If he gets us over the Premier League winning manager, top 5, bro, the meltdown will be unfathomable. I will crash out differently. So, that being said, there are predictions. This has been another fantastic Liverpool Reds Roundtable here, hosted on DR Sports with your boy Errol. I have been joined by Doyley, and I have been joined by Greg. Come on, you know what time it is. DR Sports, and we'll see you guys in the next one.